But first, the sure sign of a government with no record to run on and no ideas for the future is a smear campaign against the opposition. The latest effort is today's Labor Dirt Unit claim that Peter Dutton somehow engaged in insider trading because he bought shares just before the then government's GFC bank guarantee. Here's Labor's attack dog, Murray Watt.
And all of a sudden, the day before this massive bailout, he takes an interest in buying banking stocks. It's a bit weird, and I think it's a bit serious.
He might not have been privy to anything except the public discussion.
Well, no one else that I'm aware of was buying the sort of volume of banking shares on that particular day when banks were at a record low with their share value.
Those Labor clowns were the government. Dutton was in opposition. Indeed, he was the opposition health shadow at the time. How would he have any insider knowledge? But more than that, unlike others discussing this issue in the media today, I was actually there in opposition at the time in the leader's office. And the only people who got any sort of briefing from the then-run government about the GFC was the opposition leader, Malcolm Turnbull, and the shadow treasurer, Joe Hockey. Certainly not Peter Dutton. I can also add, because I was the shadow cabinet secretary at the time, so I set the agenda and did the minutes for every single shadow cabinet meeting. Not even as a member of shadow cabinet did Dutton get any special sort of treasury briefing, so an insider briefing to know about insider trading. And nor did any official brief the shadow cabinet, as often happens for the government when they bring officials into cabinet. This is the shadow cabinet after all, so any idea that he might have known something, well, that's just a joke. And it's a sign of sheer desperation from a desperate government. And the fact that the Dirt Unit has gone into overdrive, well, that's the best indication to me that the PM's about to call the election. But put this share furphy to one side, let's take another look at Labor's main attack against the coalition. This is Medicare 2.0. The Albanese government is so bereft of ideas that it's got to rerun some old scare campaigns. In this case, the one they used for Shorten very successfully in 2016 against Malcolm Turnbull. Now, back then, this scare campaign almost worked because Turnbull kept merchant banker hours in the campaign and he wanted a coronation, not a fight and a contest. This latest Medicare campaign, much less likely to work against Dutton though. He's a better campaigner. And Labor's desperation means it's flagged the scare too soon. Most importantly though, it's a lie. Here's Anthony Albanese today trying to make the next election all about Peter Dutton.
Peter Dutton, when he was Health Minister, ripped $50 billion out of the hospital system. Peter Dutton, who has never supported, very clearly on his own record, supported free healthcare. Peter Dutton can't be trusted. Peter Dutton's slashing and cuts, that's a matter for Peter Dutton.
Goodness me, liar, pants on fire. Here are the facts. Health spending was not, I repeat, not cut when Tony Abbott was PM and Peter Dutton was the Health Minister. Again, I was there. They were determined to honour the commitment that there would be no cuts to Medicare. In the 2 years that Peter Dutton was the Health Minister, hospital funding increased. That's right, it increased by 16%. Over the life of the recent coalition government, hospital funding, well, it almost doubled. It started out at $13.3 billion and went out to $24.7 billion. That's an increase of some 86% in funding. Now, that's not the cut that Labor's trying to claim. As well, over the life of the coalition government, bulk billing increased. That's right, it increased from around 82% to 88%. Now, that's a 6 percentage point increase in Australia's bulk billing rate. Again, no cut, and certainly no bulk billing crisis under Peter Dutton or the coalition. In fact, it's actually been the Albanese government. It's this government that's presided over a collapse in the bulk billing rate from 88% in May 2022, when the government was elected, to just 78% at the beginning of this year. Now, that's a fall of some 11% under Labor. That's another uncomfortable truth, isn't it, for the Prime Minister? It was actually the Gillard government too, not Peter Dutton, that first froze the GP rebate. And there were no cuts to any Medicare rebates, none at all, when Peter Dutton was the health minister. And as for the Medicare co-payment, that was an idea. It wasn't supported in the parliament, but as a principle, it had every cent of the extra revenue collected, then directed to the Medical Research Future Fund. Now, that was set up anyway under Peter Dutton, and it's now reached some $22 billion, and it's pouring at least another $1 billion a year into the work of our world-leading scientists. There was even a doctored ad on all of this. This is what Labor has put to air.
We're very clear about this. Medicare is dead.
Right, you saw the ad. Now listen to what Dutton actually said.
We're very clear about this. Medicare is dead if we can't make it sustainable today.
Talk about misinformation. So see this for what it is. It's a desperate second-hand scare campaign by a Prime Minister with no record to run on, no plan for the future, and absolutely no integrity.